Good morning, children. Now we start our new lesson, The Glorious Whitewasher. First we go with the lesson reading, later we go to the summary. It was a bright, cheerful summer morning that Saturday. The trees were in bloom and their fragrance filled the air. Cardiff Hill, beyond the village, lay green and welcoming. Tom came walking down a pathway with a bucket of whitewash and a brush. He looked at the fence and his shoulders drooped. It was 9 feet high and 30 yards across. He was perhaps the only one unhappy that sunny morning. Plank by plank, he painted a little at a time, stopping to rest on a tree stump to catch his breath. Jim, on the other hand, looked pleased as Punch. He came skipping with a tin bucket, singing Buffalo Gulls. He looked happy doing work that Tom had always disliked. Now, Tom remembered that it was certainly less lonely fetching water than painting the fence because there was always someone to chat up at the pump. That was why Tom always had to be fetched from the pump after an hour, even though it was just a few yards away. If you whitewash this stretch, I will fetch water for you, offered Tom. Jim declined the offer. Aunt Polly, he said, he had warned him that Tom would try to exchange tasks. So she planned to look into the whitewashing in a while. Tom tried to brush Jim's fears aside and offered to fetch water. After all, he said, Aunt Polly would never know. But Jim insisted that he could not switch duties since he was scared of her anger. Tom tried another argument. He told Jim that he knew his aunt was all bluster. She talks awful, but talk doesn't hurt, he assured. Then Tom remembered his sore toe. He promised to show it to Jim for an exchange of duties. Jim was finally tempted. He stayed meanly as Tom took the bandage off. The next moment, with one smack on his behind from Aunt Polly's slipper, he went flying down the lane. Tom was finally convinced that Aunt Polly could make quite an impact. But even Aunt Polly's sharp eyes could not hold his interest in the whitewashing. Thoughts of the adventures his friends and he could have been having made him feel very sorry for himself. To calm himself down, he pulled out his treasures, toys, marbles, and stuff that others might consider trash. Would any of this be enough to buy someone's services to do the whitewash in his place? Just then, as he slipped his treasures back to the safety of his pocket, a thought struck him and picked up the brush. Up walked Ben Rogers, just the person he had been dreading. Ben was munching an apple and looked very pleased, mimicking the steamboat Big Missouri. In his imagination, strangely, he was also the captain. Barking orders to steer the ship, Tom continued whitewashing. Ben spotted him and stopped. Punished, aren't you? He said to Tom, who pretended he had not heard. Instead, he stopped painting to look appreciatively at what he had done as if he was an artist painting a canvas. Although he longed for a bite of the apple Ben was munching. Want to join me for a swim? Ben asked, adding mischievously, or perhaps you can't get away till your work is over. Tom looked at Ben. Work? He asked. Ben nodded and pointed to the fence. Tom just resumed painting. Whether it's work or not, it suits Tom, sire, he said like a wise man. Ben was surprised. He asked Tom if he liked whitewashing. Tom's answer surprised him. It's not every day that a boy gets a chance to whitewash a fence, he pointed out. Ben had not thought of that. Tom seemed to be enjoying whitewashing. How could he miss out on so much fun? So he begged Tom to let him whitewash a little patch. Tom pretended to give the request some thought and then turned it down. The fence was too special to Aunt Polly, he pointed out. Only 1 in 1,000 or perhaps 2,000 could meet her high expectations. That made the task seem even more special. Ben pleaded with Tom to give him the brush. Finally, the deal was struck. Ben's apple for Tom's brush. Tom pretended to surrender the brush reluctantly, although in truth, he couldn't hand it over fast enough. As Ben sweated it out, Tom relaxed and planned how to get the work done as faster. And so it was that any boy who came to jeer at the painters was convinced that the job was a prized one and straight back to whitewash. Billy Fisher parted with a kite. Johnny Miller handed over a dead rat with a string attached to its tail to swing it by. By the middle of the afternoon, the fence had been given 3 coats of whitewash and Tom's riches had multiplied and now included a piece of chalk, a one-eyed kitten, a dog collar and pieces of orange peel. That day, Tom learned that to make something seem worth it, it is necessary to make it seem hard to get it. He also learned the difference between work and play. Work is what we are made to do, but play is something we want to do. With his newfound riches and wisdom, Tom went home to report the completion of his task to his aunt. Children, while reading the lesson, whatever you observe the new words or hard words, please underline that words and write it in your classwork neatly.